Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Belly to Belly. And we're here today with a great friend and LinkedIn expert, Jimmi Bradbury. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Bill?
I am wonderful. So, our audience are all B2B and B2G companies expanding in the US. And obviously, LinkedIn is a really important tool, not only for you know, business, but also in the US, it's a important platform for business communication. We've talked a little bit offline about the challenges, and I guess as you see sort of companies looking to connect with customers, with partners, looking to build their brand on LinkedIn, and particularly sort of in the B2B and B2G space, where are we failing? Where could we leverage it better?
Good question. Just before I answer that, just want to acknowledge you, Bill, for the great work you're doing in helping B2B and B2G companies expand in the US. So well done to you. I think one of the challenges people face today is just awareness, really. Awareness that we've got an opportunity with a platform that we can access what is the biggest networking event in the world. And we can do it from our own home. We can do it 24/7. Last year, LinkedIn crossed over 1.1 billion people who are on the platform. 1.1 billion. And we can network with them every day. And we can do it for free, which is fantastic. But it's the awareness thing. One, that it's there, the platform. I know that it sounds like common sense, but as I always say, common sense is not necessarily common practice. And being aware that we're able to access this is the starting point. And a lot of people don't really understand the platform. And I think that's also the challenge, but also there's a lot of myths around it. It's for the corporates, it's for getting a job, it's for putting your resume out, all of that. But the reality of it is it's for everybody. And the stats don't work in people's favor either. 90%, I did a survey last year on 1,000 people who are on LinkedIn, and 90% of those people are just there and really just following people. They're just there in the background. Then there's another 9% of the people who are making comments and they're sharing and reposting, which is fantastic. But there's only 1% of the people who are creating content consistently. Some people are creating content, but they're not creating content consistently. And I think what, big mission for me is to help as many people move into that 1%. Because when you're in that 1% of people, then you've got a huge opportunity to be able to really connect with your audience by producing content that will help them. Yeah.
So you just said something really, and several things interesting, but just at the very end, you said, create content that helps them. So what I hear is being very audience centered in terms of your communication, and trying to, I would imagine, help or educate in terms of the content you produce. But can we dive into that a little bit more in terms of what content? Because obviously you see some posts where there are literally hundreds of comments and shares and likes, and other posts that are far below that. What makes sort of an effective post in terms of getting reaction, getting some traction?
Good. It's a good question. So really, it's really understanding about who your audience is and being able to put out content that helps them. So usually around challenges or problems they've got, and being able to answer that with some real value. And being able to do that in a way that is consistently done and constantly helping your audience with something that they need help with. We all assume that people don't have problems, but the reality of it is everybody has problems, and being able to address those problems with really good content that's helpful and not looking for anything out of it, really, just putting the content out there. And I think if we can do that and do that on a consistent basis, then it's going to help, enormously. And not really also kind of putting a lot of these hacks out. You see a lot of people today on social media, and they're just putting hacks out. Here's a quick way to be able to do this. Here's, the new algorithm way, the way to beat the algorithm, and all that kind of stuff. And that's playing a really short game. So if you can play the long game where you're really wanting to educate your audience and do it in a value-led way, I think that's going to help you.
So the term sort of thought leadership comes to mind, the
Very
idea
much so.
of
Yeah.
being that respected
Yeah.
resource. And so, it's funny, one of the phenomenon I see, and I'll use a metaphor. So when I travel, and if I'm in a country where I don't speak the language, if I'm, let's say, ordering a meal, I'll kind of look at the person helping me and I'll ask for what I want. And of course, being a very ignorant American, not speaking their language, when I look at them when they don't understand me, I'll say exactly what I said the first time, but I'll say it louder the second time, thinking that somehow they'll magically understand. And I think what I'm hearing from you is we need to learn our audience's language so that we can give them content that resonates and is relevant for them. Is that maybe a good way to look at it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, when, we in marketing, we're taught that, if we want to build this profile of our audience, who's our ideal audience, it's usually around the demographics, where they live, what income they've got, and all of that's great. But I think the really powerful stuff is three other things. Number one, understanding what their problems are, understanding what their desires are, where they're trying to get to. But the fourth one, which is what a lot of people miss, is using the language that they use. What are they actually saying? Listen, don't speak. Listen to what they're saying and the problems that they've got. And if you then repurpose that in your content, then you're going to draw them in because you're speaking their language. And that's so powerful when you're putting content out. Yeah.
One of the things you said to me, and this may have been in a conversation a week or two ago, was, one of the objectives you have should be to not just connect with your audience, but to also get them off of LinkedIn or onto, whether it's your website or into your kind of relationship nurturing process. Can you talk more about that and kind of what strategies work to do that?
So if we just take it to LinkedIn, I think there's two key things to build the relationship with the audience on LinkedIn. Number one is putting the content out there. And then the other part is actually actively going out and finding them. It's the metaphor I use of Noah and the Ark, but in reverse. You can't just build the ark and then hope everybody's going to come. You've got to go out and bring them in. So if you can bring those two together, then it becomes social media like a party. Again, another metaphor I use, a party where people come together and you meet your audience. But the reality of it is that we're always working against the algorithm on social media. And what we want to do is move them into a place where we can actually manage and control the dialogue that we're having with them off of social media into, in my world, which is online marketing, is my email list. That's my distribution channel. Everybody, if they want to be successful in business, has to have a distribution channel. And for me, in email marketing and online marketing, it's my email list. And I leverage that to then be able to have the conversations that I control as much as I want. And then you're really then talking to your audience, and you're also managing the situation. So that's almost like social media is the party. Email, for me, the distribution channel, is like your home. That's where you bring them to your home, and then you can manage the dialogue there. So that's really what I was talking about.
Okay, yeah, and so you're not limited by the algorithm either sharing your message broadly or in some way limiting it. Is that
exactly? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And how, I see people, maybe one tactic here, maybe to talk about for a second. I see, sort of people putting out posts where they'll tag, anywhere from 5 to 50 people in, kind of different blocks of comments, and, and using lots of hashtags. Obviously well, I don't know that there's a limit to that, but I guess, what do you find most effective in terms of when you said going out to get your audience, is that one tactic to do it?
Yeah, that's a really important tactic. So everybody that's in our audience, assuming we know who our audience is out there today. Our job is to go and find them, and more so, they're on social media, and I'd like more and more of them to be on LinkedIn. But there's a lot of them out there, and our job is to go out and find where they are at the moment, and then bring them back into our world, if they don't already know it. And the way to do that is put content, and you can put hashtags out there to people to be able to draw them in. And that's one thing, to be able to draw them in, but you then have to have a dialogue with them to keep the conversation going. And that is in your DMs, your direct messages, to then be able to take them on to your wherever your distribution channel is. Could be offline, it could be online, wherever it is. You want to move them through that sequence of meeting them on social media, if you don't already know, finding where they are, bring them into a direct message conversation, and then take them out onto whatever your distribution channel is, and then continue the conversation there.
No, that makes sense. I mean, this is obviously it's a bigger conversation, and exactly, I'm sure, why you've created the classes you've created. And do you want to just take a moment and talk about the classes you've created?
Yeah, like I've been doing my online business. So my story is I spent 25 years in the corporate world, a 9-to-5 job. Fortunately, I got to travel around the world, lived in the US for 4 years, so I know what America is like. Loved it, still go back there. But in 2018, I came out of that and started building my own online business. But in 2020, when we had the pandemic, my business started to drop away. And that's when I got introduced to the idea of maybe I should look at LinkedIn. And from that day, so 5 years ago, I've loved LinkedIn. I spent a lot of money investing in coaches and mentors on it. And then I started coaching people on how to build a LinkedIn presence. And then I started putting it into a course and program, which I've got today. And, that's what my course is about helping people get the basics right, which is what a lot of people haven't got right, which is their profile. And if they haven't got their profile set up on LinkedIn, I would suggest to them they shouldn't be on LinkedIn until they've done that, because they're doing more damage than good. Because the content they're putting out there that engages their audience, they're immediately going to come back to their profile to see who this person is. And if it doesn't align with their message and their content, they're probably just going to go away and not come back. And that's the sad piece. So getting your profile set up correctly, and from your profile, then finding your audience, putting the content out there that attracts your audience, and building a machine that actually helps you as a business, but also helps your audience as well. That's really the flow of my course. Yeah.
That's fantastic. So if it's okay with you, we'll include your program link and contact info in the description below.
That'd be great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jimmy. It was really a pleasure to chat today.
My pleasure, Bill. All right. Thank you so much.